Okay, we have some pretty big news. As you know, Pete Hegseth and Trump administration are caught up in this scandal about a second strike where they're going after these boats that they say are narco-terrorists with absolutely no evidence, no due process, just killing people because they say that they should be killed. Now, they've gone into a bit of trouble because when they did a first strike on a boat, there were some survivors, but those survivors were clearly not a threat. But it's been reported that Pete Hegseth decided to kill them anyways, which is a war crime. Now, a clip has resurfaced that puts Pete Hegseth in the room where it happened. I have Pete Hegseth responding to that video. And I also have Megyn Kelly and the MAGA press telling on themselves. Let's start with Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly said this about that bombing, which I thought was, thank God, just be honest, Let us know who you are.
So I really do kind of not only want to see them killed in the water, whether they're on the boat or in the water, but I'd really like to see them suffer. I would like Trump and Hegseth to make it last a long time so that they lose a limb and bleed out a little. Like, I'm really having a difficult time ginning up sympathy for these guys who 10 seconds earlier almost got taken out by the initial bomb, but because they managed to get ejected, a little too soon, had to be taken out in the water. I realize legally it may make a difference, but truly, Mark, this is a tough case to really gin up the sympathies of the American people.
Yeah. Truly despicable thing to say, that you want to see people suffer, bleed out. I don't know who these people are. But the thing about American exceptionalism was that we were supposed to be better than other countries, that we were supposed to operate from a moral high ground. This is the type of rhetoric, this is the type of culture, this is the type of thinking that has infected much of our culture. And it's sad to see, but I'd much rather it be out in the open than behind closed doors, because we got to know what we're dealing with. This is not an appropriate way to talk about other human beings, no matter what they do. Okay, now, on those same lines, this is, if you don't know, the Pentagon has kicked out all of the mainstream media, and they now have brought in these little boys and girls who are pretending to be journalists. Here's one. Vince Dow, 58,000 followers, 500,000 YouTube followers, now Department of War correspondent, who is just there to literally be a stenographer, has absolutely no journalistic integrity. Here's another one. Lance Videos says it's official. Mainstream media is dead. And then he said this.
Lance Johnston here at the Pentagon. As you know, the mainstream media is no longer here. You're wondering, why am I here? Because I've covered protests, riots, and I've shown you what happens on college campuses. Now, the mainstream media is too afraid to go to these riots and show leftist violence. The mainstream media fails to show the truth. I've shown you the truth at riots and on college campuses, and now I'm here to
Okay, buddy, you just got to work on your editing. You've said riots about 5 times. We got it. You showed riots. Now, I actually quote tweeted this guy on Twitter, and he didn't like it because he said this. Again, these are stenographers. He said, it is standard procedure to ensure our enemies are neutralized, especially narco-terrorists who kill Americans. The left is lying when they say Pete Hegseth is a murderer. Okay. And then I just said, shut the fuck up, twink. It still tickles me. And then I quote tweeted an actual report from an actual journalist saying the ex-president who Trump plans to pardon flooded America with cocaine. And if you don't know, Donald Trump did pardon a drug lord. So they're going after narco-terrorists, except for the ones that I'm assuming bribed Trump. That's what I'm assuming. Lance Videos actually responded to this and said, how Keith felt tweeting this. And I guess for some reason he thought misspelling my name in quotes is somehow a dig at me. I truly don't understand that. These people are not even good at being trolls. It's sad to see. He doesn't really have the juice to fight me, and so I'm not going to fight back. All right, I just want to show one more clip of this My Pillow TV is there too. So if that's any sign of what you can expect the information coming out of the Pentagon press room is going to be like. Now, this is one thing that I thought was very telling. Matt Gaetz was there asking questions. Matt Gaetz, yes, Matt Gaetz. And the Pentagon, and then after that, Laura Loomer got her turn. And I want you to watch this. This is very important because this is literally what it looks like when you have state-run media. This little girl is acting, she's just acting as if she is a press secretary. She's not. And the reporters are just playing a role of pretending like they're actually asking for questions. But it's all, look, you can just watch. It's just all role play. It's role playing. It's actually stunning to see.
We'll continue to evaluate all of those to make sure, again, that national security is protected. That is the Secretary's utmost priority.
But given the fact that the Qatari royal family and Qatar itself is the biggest financier, along with Turkey, of course, the financier of the Muslim Brotherhood, would that relationship and partnership be reevaluated since the designation could possibly include Qatar?
I'm not tracking any reevaluation at this time, but again, the Secretary really keeps national security top of mind, and this administration does as well. So we will always make sure that American assets are protected. Yes.
Hi, David Zia, Real America's Voice.
Real America's Voice. Oh my God, it's like a hellhole in there. Oh my God. But yeah, I saw this and I knew I had to bring this to you because it is like, she's smiling. She's like, oh my, the utmost.
Make sure again that national security is protected. That is the Secretary's utmost priority.
She's an actress. It looks like a little girl going to the podium to pretend she has the job. That's how it feels to me. If that's offensive, fuck you. Fuck you. You're defending a war criminal. All right, now, as I said, Pete Hegseth got caught in a lie. He said he didn't order for the second strike, but now a resurfaced clip has put him in the room where it happened. And then I have Pete Hegseth's response where he tries to take himself out of that room.
So the president is sending a message to other cartels, right?
A very clear one. I can tell you that was definitely not artificial intelligence. I watched it live. We knew exactly who was in that boat. We knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States, trying to poison our country with illicit drugs.
Really important. I watched it live. And then this is also a very important part.
We knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And
I knew exactly what they were doing and exactly what they represented.
We knew exactly who was in that boat.
We knew exactly who was in that boat. Well, sounds like you got a lot of information. Watched it live, knew who was in the boat. Okay, now we learned there were two survivors who were killed. And here is now Pete Hegseth's new lie.
Watch that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting.
Ooh, baby, he is lying through his teeth. Ooh, I can feel the lie. Can you feel the lie? I can feel it.
Hours later, I learned that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do. And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision. Sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike? You personally?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire.
I didn't personally see survivors. Okay. Now, what we haven't seen is the video clip, because there is video of their survivors. Now, he's acting like it was an hour, 2 hours before the fire died down that you could see that there were survivors. He's pretending like he was like, order the first strike happened, there was chaos, and he was like, all right, peace. I don't think that, obviously that's not what happened. And then he left the room. Okay. And then he's saying someone ordered a second strike. Okay.
It was exploded and fire or smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
Okay, now people are, when they heard that, they're like, that general, that man Bradley, Admiral Bradley needs to lawyer up because they are getting ready to throw him off the proverbial boat. Now, Tom Nichols, who does a lot of writing about military for The Atlantic, said this about their explanation. He said, this seems implausible. Bradley is an experienced officer who, by virtue of his rank and position, would be intimately familiar with the laws of armed conflict. He would have to know that such an order is likely a war crime, and any senior officer would want civilian leadership to sign off on an order with such potentially immense consequences, especially on the first such operation. And in parentheses, if the admiral actually did give the order on his own, that's a little comfort. It would mean Hegseth's Defense Department is even more dysfunctional and out of control than anybody would have guessed. So that's still not a good answer, that people are just ordering weapons to be fired without oversight. It's still not great. All right, I also just wanted, this is just an aside, but during that meeting, Pete Hegseth's name tag said Secretary of War with 2 S's, even his name tag is slurring. And one more thing, according to the U.S. Coast Guard, the year prior to Trump changing our policy to summary execution, only 21% of the vessels interdicted by them off the coast of Venezuela suspected of drug trafficking drugs had drugs on board. The other 79% had nothing. So we're just killing all of them who are suspected. So it could be very likely that only a small fraction of these boats actually have drugs on them and are people who are trafficking drugs. They're in deep trouble. They're in deep trouble. And this is just the beginning. There's going to be a whole investigation. The Senate and the House are going to look into this, okay? And all of these lies, he should just shut up. I shouldn't be giving him legal advice. All these lies he's saying are going to put him in even more trouble. Even more trouble, because it's all going to be on record. I look forward to the trial. That is definitely happening. I think we learned our lesson with Trump. We put these motherfuckers on trial the second we get power. And if you're not someone running for president or running for election, running for office, saying that, then I do not want to support you. Point, period, blank. Okay? See you soon. Bye.